Hi there, this is just a quick video for beginners. In this one, we are going to look at how to extrude a sketch when the PartDesign workbench doesn't let you. We will combine some basic tools from 3 different workbenches to get the job done and build this 3D model. Let's get started. Let's go to the start page of FreeCAD. On the start page of FreeCAD 1.0.1, let's create an empty document. Let's click Empty File option. And let's add a PartDesign body object to the tree view. For that, click on create body icon, and let's start designing our model, creating a sketch attached to the axis plane, the front plane. For that, click on the create sketch icon and select the axis plane for this first sketch. And in this sketch, let's trace a geometry that we'll use to create the first shape. We are on the sketch workbench. Let's use the cycle and the rectangle tool to create the geometry of this sketch. Okay, let's select cycle tool and create a cycle in the origin axis. And next select rectangle tool and create this rectangle. And now let's use the trim tool, this tool here, to trim some lines of this geometry. Let's trim this line here, this line, and this line here, and now let's remove this line. Skip this tool and select this line here and delete. Now we have this geometry. Next, select these two lines here in this way and apply an equal constraint. Just click on this icon, and next select these 2 points in this way and place a horizontal constraint. To do that, go to this tool here, click on this arrow to expand the tools and select constraint horizontal. 3 degrees of freedom. Next, zoom in here and let's use the fillet tool to create some fillets in this geometry like we see in this 3D model. Let's do that. Click in fillet tool and now click on this arc here and now in this line and do the same thing here. Let's select this arc and now control and select this arc here. Go to the dimension tool, expand the tools and select constraint radius and set 5 mm. Next, select the dimension tool, click on this cycle, click on this arc, click off and set a radius of 50 mm. Next, click on this point and now in the horizontal axis and set a distance of 8 mm. Next here, select this line and this line here and set a distance of 40 mm. We have the sketch full constrained. Let's close the sketch, press close button. As you see here we have the sketch, and now it's time to extrude the sketch here. To extrude the sketch we are going to use a external workbench, the Sheetmetal workbench. In the PartDesign workbench this is not possible. Let's try it in the PartDesign workbench and we'll see what happens. If we select the sketch here and then click on the pad tool, the extrusion tool, and then click OK here, as you see we have this input error. Wire is not closed. Cancel this and let's go to the Sheetmetal workbench to create an extrusion of this sketch. Go to the workbench selector, click on it and select Sheetmetal workbench and next select the sketch. As you see, this tool here is activated and we're going to use this tool to extrude this sketch. Click on this icon. Now go to the task panel on extrude options. Let's check these options, symmetric, and change the length here to 60 mm. Let's see. Yes, change the length to 60 mm and let's go to radius and set 2.5 and the thickness to 2.5 mm. And the bend plane must be outside. Now press OK to finish this and let's check the dimensions. Zoom in here and click on this tool. Now click on this internal edge. As you see we have a radius of 50 mm. Click off and skip this and now just click on this edge here and we have 31.01 mm, the same dimension here. Okay, now if we skip this and select this point here and now this point, as you can see we have a distance of 40 mm, so it's all correct. Okay, let's close this. Next, let's create these 4 bands here. To do that, we have to select, for example, this edge here. Hold Ctrl key, select this edge. Now this edge, rotate the view of this 3D model and next select this edge. Press home on the keyboard and now let's use this tool here. Just click on this icon. Let's change here to 20 millimeters, this value 20 millimeters. Just press OK to finish this, and as you can see we have only two operations inside the body object. Now to create the holes and these all pockets, we are going to use the PartDesign workbench. Let's go to our document and change the workbench to PartDesign workbench, and now let's create a sketch attached to the front plane, the axis plane. To do that, go to the grid sketch icon, click on it, and then select the axis plane, double click. Now zoom in here, use the external jump tool to extract this edge here. We need this edge here because we need to get the mid of this edge here to place our circular geometry. Now switch to the section view by pressing this icon, and next change the geometries to construction geometries, pressing this icon, and now select line tool and zoom in here. In this edge, create a line starting in the mid. Okay, and now set 10 millimeters for this line here, and the angle must be 0 degrees. So in this way, will be created a horizontal line with a length of 10 millimeters. Now select this tool, hide these all constraints, and then change the geometry to normal geometries, and now select cycle tool. Click on this endpoint here of this line and set 10 millimeters of diameter for this cycle. Now skip this tool. As you see, this sketch is full constrained, but we need another circular geometry in the side here in order to create these holes. To do that, it's very simple. We can mirror these geometries in the side. To do that, select, for example, the cycle. We only need this cycle. Select this cycle and now click on this symmetry tool, and now click on the vertical axis, and here we have this. As you see, we have 2 degrees of freedom. This means that the cycle is not constrained, the location is not constrained. To full constrain this sketch, we can use the constraint symmetric tool. Select the constraint symmetric tool and now click on the center point of this cycle and the center point, and now this vertical axis. As you see, now the sketch is full constrained. Let's close the sketch, and now let's use the pocket tool to create the holes. Zoom in here. Okay, and change the type to FreeCAD, this option. And as you see, we have 2 holes here, but we need the holes also in this material here. To do that, it's simple. Just check these options, mark to plane, and OK. Okay, next let's create a sketch attached to the YZ plane for these holes. Click on the grid sketch icon and select YZ plane. Switch to section view and zoom in here, and now select the slot tool to create this geometry. Okay, and create the slot with a length of, let's see here, 20 millimeters. Okay, and should be -9 degrees. It will be a vertical slot with a range of 2.5 millimeters, and here we have this 2 degrees of freedom, as you can see. Now let's use the external jump tool to extract this edge here, and next let's use the dimension tool to set the placement of this geometry. Let's select this edge and now the center point and set a distance of 5 millimeters. Now from the center point to the vertical axis, let's set 25 millimeters. Let's say 12.5 millimeters and enter, and the sketch is full constrained. Now let's mirror this geometry in the side. To do that, it's very simple. First, skip this tool, zoom in here, let's hide all constraints, and next let's select this geometry. Okay, and now click on symmetry tool and click on this vertical axis, and we have this slot in this side. Also 2 degrees of freedom. We can leave the sketch without constraining the slot here. We will not have problems, but I prefer to full constrain the sketch. So for that, I will select constraint symmetric and then click on the center point, and the vertical axis. Sketch full constrained. I close the sketch and then I select the pocket tool. Let's select the pocket tool, change the type to focal, and check symmetric plane. And here we have this. Okay. The next thing to do is to create these holes here around this shape here. To do that, we'll use a combination of Sketcher Workbench and PartDesign tools. We will use the Sketcher Workbench to transfer geometry, the slot geometry, and then use the PartDesign pocket tool to create this hole, and then use the Move Transform tool to create a polar array and then a mirror transformation. Okay, let's create a sketch, attach it to the XY plane. For that, let's click on the Create Sketch icon and select XY plane, double click. Now switch to the session view by pressing this icon, zoom in here and select slot tool. Now click on the vertical axis and settling for 35 millimeters for this slot. And now just click on the vertical axis again and now set 5 millimeters for the radius of this slot. Okay, here we have the geometry with 1 degree of freedom. Let's select constraint symmetric and now the center point, this one, and the horizontal axis. Close the sketch and now let's change to front here, and also let's change the placement of the sketch in the Z axis. Go to the model tab. With this sketch selected, go to attachment in the properties, attachment offset, expand this and go to position and now Z position and increase here to let's say 55 millimeters. Okay, and now select the sketch again and click on the pocket tool. Now let's press home on the keyboard and also let's increase the length of this pocket operation, let's say 10 millimeters. And click off. Here we have this, as you can see. Let's say OK. Let's select the pocket operation and then go to Move Transform icon, click on it. In this task panel, the first operation that will add will be the polar pattern. To do that, right click in Transformations and select this option, Add Polar Pattern, and scroll down here, change the axis to select reference option, and now click on this edge, this circular edge. Okay, next go to angle and let's say 145 degrees. And also let's reverse the duration, just check this option, and as you can see we have this. And now what is missing is to increase the number of occurrence to 6. Click off and here we have this. Press OK here and now right click and select Add Mirror Transformation, and as you can see we have this. Press OK here to finish this, and this is the final model. If you want to support the content of the channel, you can do that. Just go to the video description and you'll find a link to the channel's Ko-Fi page, or you can support the channel buying the ebooks that's appearing on the screen now. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.